We're at Monza, the spiritual home of Ferrari, and Ferrari are out in front. In real life, this race just happened just a few days ago, and Leclerc was able to actually bag the win. And so can Ferrari do it in the game as well? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. We as Team Andretti have just 5 points, and nothing crazy happened last race as we finished 12th and 13th, which seems to be our kind of average finishing place if nothing insane goes on in the race. The board is starting to lose confidence in us, and so hopefully we can start turning that around here in Italy. So as you can see, we've hit the cost cap. We've hit the cost cap. We can't do any more research, so we're not going to have a great car at the beginning of next year either. We're still going to have to buy parts for Award because he's crashed so many times. And, I mean, I'm not sure totally what we're going to do. We might have to just start tanking Grojean because Award is our best shot at winning. And just take off all of the good parts on Grojean so that Award has good parts for the end of the season. So we'll probably just let Grojean... kind of just go through the parts that he has on now and then start taking parts off of him. All right, so here's a couple of things that I'm thinking through right now. Since we're absolutely bankrupt, I went ahead and took off a lot of good parts on Grojean. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that real quick. So Grojean, he has the original chassis. He has just one upgraded front wing. The rear wing, he has just one upgrade because he has 2 upgrades on because there's a 4th one that we're creating right now for Award. The side pod, he only has 1 upgrade, and then we only upgraded this once a piece, and so he has the original parts here. This is just for practice as well. And so Award has all the good parts, so everything's a 3 except for the underfloor, which is a 2. Oh, I guess this suspension, I don't have spare suspensions for Grojean at S2. We're going to do what we normally do. Award's going to go off first, and then Grojean here. We're just trying to preserve our job at this point because it's not looking good. It's not looking good for us. So I kept some bad parts. I kept a bad ERS on Award. I do think that we're good. We can pick through the field. We always need a little bit of luck to end up in the top 10. To get points. And so I think that just putting this on, keeping ERS, trying to keep his ERS for the actual races and stuff like that, I think is what we're going to do. I'm also thinking about just kind of selling on all sprint races. I know we got our first points, but the majority of our points have not come from sprints and just kind of focusing on the Grand Prix instead. And so that might have to happen. And then Grojean, I put all of his parts on, but we're probably going to have to do the same thing for the sprint races with him as well, and just kind of just throw our hands up and go, we're going to be uncompetitive during the sprints, and kind of just hang back and put on Don't Fight Teammate and just try to survive without crashing sprints. Unfortunately, that is the mode that we are in at this point because we just have zero money. We have zero money. We have no, we have I think we have 500,000 in the bank for cost cap. Alonso ran wide, a 127.67, and Grojean was much slower because he has an awful car at this point. So let's see what happens. All right, so both of our guys with just a little bit of time left have made it out for their final lap here. Grojean hopefully getting a little bit of a toe off Sargent, and Award is able to make it into the top 10. Grojean is able to make it into Q number 2, even with the bad car that he has. So perfect, well done by Pato, and a good job by Grojean as well. All right, so we're starting our first flyer of Q number 2, and Award and Grojean for now have clean air. Award might catch up to Verstappen and Alonso. Verstappen was able to accelerate right before that, and it's a 127.23. That is not as good as what he had last time. I think that's a really good time by Grojean, though. I think that's pretty close to what he had at the end. So Grojean, great lap. All right, so starting our second flyer up, Q number 2, and Award and Grojean. I already saw Award pop off a little bit faster. Grojean faster second sector, but Award looks like he's going to improve. I think he improved his time, but just not enough. Maybe he didn't. Maybe his last sector was just that bad. But we're going to start off 12th and 14th. Our strategy is very straightforward today. We are going to go for a one-stop, just like in real life. Even though it looks like the two-stop may have been just a tick. Well, no, technically the one-stop was faster because Leclerc won. I don't know what I'm talking about. So we're going to go with Leclerc's strategy. Going to take a page out of Ferrari because last time we did that, that worked out. So we're just going to go with the one-stop. I think everybody's going to one-stop here in Monza. And so we're just going to start off on the mediums and then go to the hards and see what happens. All right, and so here we go. The Italian Grand Prix. Let's see. Lights are out and away we go. Leclerc is starting second, Verstappen is starting first, Norris, Sainz, Piastri, and then Perez, and then we've got the two Aston Martins right after that. So let's see how, let's go ahead and go on board with O'Ward, see if he can sneak up the inside of Hamilton. He's going to choose not to. It looks like Ocon might go ahead and go around the outside. He's going to push us right onto the gravel, and O'Ward's going to lose many, many, many spots. And we've done that a few times to people, and now it's happened to us, but we've never done it to you, Ocon. You little turd. All right, so Ocon, we're just going to start calling people names. I've decided we're just going to start calling more people names. Ocon is a turd, and then we just, now we get hit. Now we hit a kick Sauber, and that's going to push us all the way down into 21st, and so Zhou is going to get by us. After Zhou runs wide, after we kind of hit him to the side a little bit. And so O'Ward's got some work to do to get back up into the top, get back up to 12th, where I think that he should finish, I should say. All of that, we talked about how O'Ward should just not be passed by anybody, and now he's in 21st. And so this is a few races that has happened, and Leclerc has damage right out the gate. Lap 1 is not even completed, and Charles Leclerc for the Prancing Ponies has got some damage on him. And now DRS is going to be enabled, which is a really good thing for us because Zhou has lost connection here. And we're probably not going to get by him because our straight line speed is really, really, really bad. And so hopefully we can hold on and get Zhou at some point. Grojean, which the much worse parts right now, is in 13th. We're going to have to do something creative. Oh, and Aston Martin is off. Stroll has spun and he's in the middle of the road. Now he's off in the kitty litter. Perfect. So this gives us a little bit more of an advantage. Stroll has spun. He's going to go all the way into the back. Be many, many seconds behind everybody. And now Grojean has just failed to get the position on Ocon. But that's actually going to let Zhou catch right back up to Pierre Gasly, which isn't the greatest for us because we want to catch DRS and we want to get by him. Except that we're going to break a little bit later in a war. It's going to just break right before Zhou does. And now we've got DRS on Pierre Gasly. And now we're trying to track down Gasly in the rest of the field. All right, so both of our people have DRS, and Grosjean's got DRS on Ocon, and Ocon did not have DRS. And let's see if we can get a better exit here. Ocon is not able to push Grosjean into the gravel this time, and Grosjean is able to make the pass on Ocon, and O'Ward is still looking and lurking behind Pierre Gasly. Grosjean got repassed by Ocon, which we thought was going to happen. Sargent is not going to catch the back of Romain Grosjean, but O'Ward here has been able to continuously get closer and closer to Pierre Gasly. At some point, I'm hoping that we can time it right and we can kind of make a late break and try to overtake Pierre, the Frenchman in the French Renault here. And as I'm saying that, Yuki Tsunoda goes up the inside of Pato O'Ward, and O'Ward's going to go ahead and catch DRS. And now he's going to pull up right to the rear wing of Pierre Gasly. He's going to look to the inside. And I think he's going to try to break late, and he's going to try to take Pierre right here. So Pierre is going to go. He's going to get a way better exit out of that corner, and we're not able to do anything. But somebody else is off. Who's off? The hat's just cut right in front of us. That's an illegal re-entry. That's an unsafe re-entry by Hulkenberg. He should have a penalty for that. Hulkenberg should have a penalty for a unsafe re-entry. and it's not going to happen. And Hulkenberg is going to just shove us aside, and now Award is going to be a few seconds behind Gasly. So all the work that Award has done has now gone for naught because of Hulkenberg. That's unbelievable, as Award now has some DRS on Hulkenberg, and he's going to go and make the clean pass around Hulkenberg and ditch him. And now it's going to be the catch-up game again for Award and trying to catch Pierre Gasly. As all of that is happening, Grojean has lost connection with Ocon and has now just gotten passed by Valtteri Bottas. And he's not going to have DRS, I don't think. I think Valtteri's going to have the DRS. And that also means that Albon and I think maybe just Albon has it there. And Award definitely doesn't have it, but Hulkenberg, the menace of this race, is going to go and retake Award. All right, so Grojean has it, DRS on Valtteri Bottas, so he's going to be able to fend off Albon, but here comes Award. The guy who's supposed to be performing better is just struggling right now to even get a little bit of track position, and now Award's going to take Hulkenberg again on the same corner. Hulkenberg just us and Hulkenberg continue to swap spots, and Grojean was able to overtake Bottas as all that was happening, so let's take a look. And so we're inside the cockpit, right in visor cam with Romain Grosjean, and he makes the easy pass on Valtteri Bottas. And then let's see if we can start getting closer to Ocon. Now, Award's going to have his rear wing open back up. We're going to go around the outside. Grosjean was able to... I don't know what's happened to Grosjean here. But he must be even with Valtteri Bottas. And then Award is able to get easily around Nico Hulkenberg. And now let's see if we can leave Hulkenberg in the dust a little bit so that he doesn't take us on the next DRS straight. All right, let's push fuel and see if we can catch up to the back, and if we need to go conservative a little bit later, we can do that. We just need him to catch back up, because we can pass Magnussen, we can pass Gasly, we can do all of that. There's a yellow flag, and Grosjean.
We have a car issue. We cannot fix it from here, sorry.
Oh, what's happened to Grosjean? All right, so Grosjean's going into the first chicane. And Magnussen, I think Valtteri Bottas hit him. I think Bottas hit him. That's a terrible replay. You just have no clue what's going on, but I think Bottas hit him. All right, so do we pick Grosjean and continue on and kind of hurt parts more, or do we go ahead? Oh, he just took out a bunch of his ERS and gearbox. Those were all in the 90s, starting at qualifying. Y'all, chat. Y'all, I don't know. I think we need to retire Grosjean here. I think we need to preserve the parts that he has, the powertrain parts that he has, because he's about to be he's not going to be competitive. All of this, I mean, we can't replace it right now. I think that he's going to be so... I think he's going to end up 22nd. I don't think it's worth it. So, that's not Grosjean's fault. That's actually quite frustrating. That's extremely frustrating, as Award has lost Yuki Tsunoda. I don't know how, but now he's battling with Hulkenberg again. And now we're trying to catch Yuki Tsunoda. Valtteri Bottas has probably got some issues with his car, as he was the one who caused the wreck. And so I think everybody's easily passing Valtteri at this point. And Bottas is probably going to have to pull into the pits, and that's exactly what he does. And he's going to have to go serve his 5-second penalty. And Award is going to try to continue to catch Tsunoda in the back of Pierre Gasly, as Hulkenberg, the annoying Nico, the menace of this race so far. I guess that should now go to Bottas, because he wrecked Grosjean. But Award is going to now keep trying to track down the guys in front of him, try to establish connection again, and then seeing if we can claw back up to I guess 11th, since Stroll is behind us. But Lance Stroll has now started to put together some decent laps and is now starting to creep in on the conversation. All right, so Lance Stroll has kept with us as we are starting to push everything a little bit harder. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw all of this off, and we're going to try to just follow Stroll because he's probably going to pass us here. So Lance Stroll is going to pull to the inside. We're going to throw a block, even though you're not supposed to, and he's going to go to the outside, break a little bit earlier, but he's going to go and have the better line on the exit of that corner, and he's going to get the good exit off of O'Ward here. And now what we can do is we can use Stroll, who has a better car in general, to hopefully pull up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda. And then we will use it, or we will slingshot around Stroll and pull closer to Tsunoda. These are the hopes that we have. These are the hopes that we have, is that we are able to catch the back of this pack and then start picking our way through. Race in Monza is starting to turn out to be a slight disaster, and O'Ward is going to catch DRS off of Lance Stroll. We're going to look to the inside. We're going to slingshot right around Lance Stroll. And we're going to be able to hopefully start catching the back of the train here. We're going to deploy right out of this corner and try to gain a little bit of time. We're going to push and we're going to get aggressive. We're going to go. We went back to neutral and just in hopes that we can catch the back of these guys. And so Lance Stroll can't get around us. Hopefully we kept enough battery for this corner here, but there is a lot of insanity going on right now into the final turn of the lap, and people are slipping, sliding, moving all around in hopes to get just a little bit of position. And then it looked like Magnussen was going to try to cover off Yuki Tsunoda's, but he's not able to cover off Yuki Tsunoda. And now we've got a decent run on the outside where I don't think Magnussen, now we're going to fall into the strip seam of Magnussen. We're going to try to pull up the inside, and that's not going to happen. And Lance Stroll's going to go down the outside of us, and Lance Stroll's going to get a better exit. And there goes Lance Stroll. So we're back into 18th, and we've got this little mini pack to try to pick through, and Lance Stroll picked us off instead. We are now able to get by Lance Stroll as we've got a good run, and now into the chicane. We are able to get around the outside of Lance, and now we're moving on to Logan Sargent and Kevin Magnussen. Ocon is way out in front of us. That's exactly where we should be because Ocon pushed us off into the gravel very early on into the race. Ocon doing Ocon things, really. And now we've got a good run on Logan Sargent. We're going to take Logan Sargent right before the DRS. We're going to push him into the gravel. I think he went back into the gravel for the second time this season. We pushed him into the gravel. And now Kevin Magnussen is going to fall into our clutches. And so Kevin Magnussen, we're going to pull to the inside of K-Mag. And we're going to break just a little bit later. And we're going to take Kevin Magnussen. Beautiful work by O'Ward. Just about 1 to 2 turns. And 2 to 3 turns, I should say. And we have taken Magnussen, ditched Hulkenberg, and Logan Sargent something happened to Logan because he got passed by a bunch of people as we went by him. And so fantastic work. Now the goal is to catch as close up to Pierre Gasly as we possibly can. All right, so here comes the Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll he just loses the back end as he had to check up a little bit because it looks like Hulkenberg checked up a little bit more than he wanted, or Magnussen. Probably Magnussen. And so Lance Stroll is now behind a bunch of people, and pit stop issue for Max Verstappen could really change the complexion of the race because Norris and Max were fighting, and Leclerc might be jumping Max Verstappen out of the pits, and that's what it looks like in our little mini map here, is that Leclerc is actually going to jump Max Verstappen. Max can't be happy. Ironically, that happened in real life too in this race, is that Max Verstappen ended up losing a ton of time on a pit stop issue. And so we are actually catching Pierre Gasly right now, as it looks like Kevin Magnussen is going to try to make the move once again, but O'Ward is going to push Magnussen off. He's going to try to push him to the side, and there we go. So Ward is going to retain it. Magnussen goes right by. What just happened? He just flew by us. How'd he do that?
Let's keep going. We're in a good
How'd he do that? Ward, you got to learn from K-Mag here on how to do that. What a move by Kevin Magnussen. And we are 4 laps away from pitting here, and so we have just enough tire to pit. And then that's going to bring us pretty much right to the end. I think we're going to pit 1 lap earlier than what we originally said, because now a lot of people are starting to come into the pits, so we're going to have to cover off those pit stops just a little bit here, as we've got a little bit of DRS, and Ward is going to go and try to retake Kevin Magnussen. We're going to break a little bit later, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Beautiful move by Ward. And now we're gonna have to see what happens with everybody else's pit stops here, and see if we need to cover a few people off or not. Looks like Albon's pitting, which isn't going to really affect us. He's pretty far out in front of us right now. Kevin Magnussen is pitting, and so we're going to probably have to, let's see if we can make it if we pit this upcoming lap. All right, so let's see if we can make it, because we do need to cover off those pit stops. We can't let them get out in front of us. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. We're going to push. We're going to go on attacking, and we're going to cover off Kevin Magnussen. So we're trying to come out right near Kevin Magnussen, and then also hopefully getting a good enough undercut on Pierre Gasly to possibly jump him in the order, because Gasly is staying out a little bit later than us. Let's see, Gasly, Tsunoda, and Ocon are staying out a little bit later than us. Hulkenberg and Bottas are on soft tires, which is really interesting. So we're trying to stay out in front of Kevin Magnussen. Trying to make sure Magnussen... Here comes Kevin. There we are. Here comes Kevin. Here comes Kevin. And we're going to get into that turn, and we're going to be able to cover off Kevin Magnussen. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. And now we're going to go aggressive to get our tires all warmed up the best that we can. And K-Mag is going to get some DRS off of us. But hopefully what we can do with this is that we can jump Pierre Gasly. And that will probably be broken at some point. But Award is now... getting it DRS off of off of Valtteri Bottas, I should say. We're going to look to make the move early here, and we're going to brake just a little bit later. He's going to have the inside track, though, and he's going to have those soft tires, but they are worn. They're absolutely worn, and so he is not going to be able to pull away from us. And now it looks like we're going to fall back into his slipstream. And now that happens, Magnussen is going to get in front of us. And now Kevin Magnussen is going to take Valtteri before we do. And this is just not good situational awareness in racing by Award. And now we've got DRS off of K-Mag, and we're off of Bottas, and Kevin Magnussen's going to go by Bottas, and Award's going to look to the outside, and he's not going to be able to make the move at all. And now Magnussen's going to go up the road, and now we are going to be stuck behind Valtteri Bottas for a lap. And that's going to significantly hurt us in being able to actually be able to catch Tsunoda and Hulkenberg and Albon. And so we're going to look to the inside, and we're going to try to make we're actually going to try to make the move right now on Bottas. So after all of my complaining, it ends up working out, and now us and Magnussen, our job is to track down Yuki Tsunoda. Here we go, down the inside of Kevin Magnussen, and we're going to take Kevin Magnussen as he's having some engine issues, and so hopefully that's going to also slow up Yuki Tsunoda for us, and we're going to start being able to break away from this 16th and below. Hamilton has a mechanical fault. Let's see if he's going to pull into the pits. It looks like it's a terminal failure for Lewis Hamilton. My heart bleeds for you. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. So Hamilton is gonna. This is what's frustrating, is that if Ocon didn't push us into the gravel, we would be right there with Tsunoda to try to compete for 10th. There's a safety car. What's happened? A safety car. Please be up here, Leclerc. Oh, Leclerc's in the gravel.
Stay just positive.
What? Leclerc's in the gravel. All right, so we've got to do something to kind of change our fortunes in this race. And so we're actually going to go put softs on. We're going to put softs on, and we're going to get aggressive. All right, so here we go. All right, so we're diving into the pits. We are not the only one who might be going on to a strategy very similar to us and kind of throwing all caution to the wind. And we're going to put on our new tires. We're going to get release, 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 get release. Oh, we're going to be right there on the, that's why. All right, so This is going to be an interesting play. We're going to see if it works out for us, but we've retained 15th. Actually, I think Sargent and Joe got in front of us because of everything that we've done. But we're going to be led around. I don't know what's happening. What is this pace car doing? What is this pace car doing? What is this guy doing? Let us by! All right, there we go. All right, so. What was that? All right, so we're going to go to the back now. We're going to go to the back. I mean, what was going on? All right, so we're going to go to the back. We're going to have better tires than Sargent and all them. So let's see what happens. Safety car's headed, and we're right there, right next to Logan Sargent. And now we're going to try to get some get a slipstream off of Logan here. And we're going to look to the inside, maybe able to brake just a little bit later than him. That's exactly what we do. We thought about looking at Joe as well, but that's okay. And so we're going to go and we're going to get a really good exit as we're going to use a little bit of battery. And now we've got full fuel. We've got good pacing here, and we're going to try to take Joe very quickly as well. So we're going to look to the outside of Joe, and Joe's going to go and throw a block. That's a block. Let's be honest, that's a block. All right, and so now we're going to try to take Joe again before, I guess we don't have DRS, so the DRS timing line does not matter here, but maybe before the exit of this next turn, and we're going to look down to the inside of Joe, and Joe's going to let us have it, and we're going to get a good exit out of that corner, out of that turn, and now we've got Kevin Magnussen to look at. Now we've got Kevin. This actually might work out for us. All right, so now we're going to go and try to get Kevin. And we're going to try to take advantage of the safety car here and really get as much out of these softs as we can. Let's go attacking. I mean, we're going to run these softs into the ground, and we're going to put on new softs, and we're going to try to catch right back up to everybody again. And so by that time, I'm hoping that everybody's a little bit more separated. And so Kevin Magnussen's going to get a good exit. We're going to look to the outside with a Ward, and he's going to pull it right back in. We're going to save a little bit of battery here as we've got the tire advantage. And we're going to look down to the inside. Kevin Magnussen's twitching all over the place. That can't be legal, right? That can't be legal. You can't be twitching all over the place. And so out of that, there is a yellow flag. What has now happened? What has happened? Anything significant? Anything significant? Multiple cars crashed. Let's see what happens. Let's see what's happened. It's in the back. So Pierre Gasly, and it looks like probably Al. Oh, and he's got some underfloor damage most likely. All right, and so we're still looking to the outside of K-Mag, and one of us, I think Magnussen is actually braking just a little bit later than us, but hopefully we can get a good exit out of that turn, and we're going to be able to beat Kevin Magnussen out of that corner, and now we're going to try to catch back up to these guys before they start scampering away. And so we are going to maybe catch DRS. We're not going to have DRS, but Kevin Magnussen is, I don't know if he's going to be close enough to be able to take us, and that is not going to happen. And so now we are going to be able to get DRS off of Ocon and Albon, whoever wins out, but we're pulling right up to the back, to the rear wing of these two cars, and now we're going to look down to the inside. We thought about it for a second, making it 3 wide, but we have thought a little bit better of it, and we're just going to wait for the DRS and whip right around both of these guys and then try to get after Yuki Tsunoda. These guys are representing 10th place right now, so let's see. We're going to see that we're going to go pull all the way out to the outside. We're going to have DRS off of both. And so we're going to rip right by Albon, who did not get DRS off of Ocon. And then we're going to look down to the inside of Ocon. We're going to try to take Ocon right here as well. We're going to go for the double pass. That is successfully done. And Ward has now gotten right past Ocon. And now we're going to throw on deploy. We saved that battery so that we can possibly get away from some of these guys. And Ocon is trying to hold on the best that he can, and let's see what happens here. And we're going to be able to get right out of that corner and be able to hopefully deploy just a little bit and be able to get rid of Ocon. Beautifully done. All right, so here's where we're at. Gasly was 10 seconds behind us when we entered the pit lane, and let's see if we can let's see how far behind we end up. I think we're going to end up behind Joe. and that's going to be it. 2.5 is not a terrible pit stop. And now let's see how far behind them we are going to end up, and we're going to end up only 6 seconds behind. And so I think we're going to have enough time to go and try to catch them. We're going to save the battery so that once we get up to some of these guys, we can start passing them on our new soft tire. All right, so we're taking Joe right here. We caught Joe very, very quickly. It took us about a lap and a half to catch Joe, which was 6 seconds up the road. And now we're trying to catch Bottas. It looks like everything's starting to break up a little bit for us, and that's going to really help us be able to catch Gasly. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit of DRS off of Valtteri Bottas. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So now we're going to pull right up to the rear wing of Valtteri Bottas. We're going to be able to make we should be able to make the move here. We should be able to make the move. Go to the outside. That's not good driving by O'Ward. You got to get by Valtteri. Valtteri, move to the inside. You got to move back out to the outside, O'Ward. You got to move back out to the outside, except that it looks like we're going to look to the inside of Valtteri Bottas here. And it looks like we're going to actually be able to make the move on Bottas. And now we're going to be looking at Albon. We're going to be looking at Albon and Ocon here for our next victims. I'm not sure if we're going to have DRS right now. We are going to have DRS. There is a yellow flag. I don't know what the yellow flag is for. It has now gone away. That's a good thing for us because now we have caught the back of Ocon and Albon. Stroll has an issue up in 12th place, and we need to get by these guys pretty quickly. And so I think this is the time that we can throw our battery on so that we can get by these guys just a little bit faster. And so we're going to look to the inside of Ocon. He's going to cover it off just a little bit here. And so we're going to continue to look down the inside or outside. I don't know which one it is because it's going to switch as we go through the chicane here. We're going to hopefully we get a good exit right there, right for both of these guys. And we need to get by these guys. We've only got a little bit of time left, and it looks like we're going to take Ocon. We're going to use a little bit of battery, and now we're going to be able to get right to Albon, and we're going to be able to pass Albon pretty quickly, and now we can throw it back on neutral, and now our next victim is Lance Stroll. So we're going to use a little bit of battery here to deploy down this straight just to get a little bit more advantage on Lance, and we're going to go right by Lance Stroll with our DRS, and now Hülkenberg and Gasly are next. We are 4 seconds behind Pierre Gasly for 10th place, and let's see if we can go and catch Pierre. And it looks like we're going to be able to catch Hülkenberg maybe right on this before the next DRS rate. We're going to be able to get a little DRS off of him. And so we're going to deploy right out of this turn as well. I think we're going to have the DRS. And so we're going to, it didn't really deploy. That's okay. But we're going to have DRS right off of it. Nico Hülkenberg, who was a menace to us at the beginning of this race, and we're going to go and look to the inside. Nico's going to try to... You've got to switch back to the outside, O'Ward. You have to, bro. Of course he's going to move down to the inside. And now we're going to try to look to the inside of Nico Hülkenberg here, and that's exactly what's going to happen is we're going to be able to get down the inside. We're going to keep the battery on just a little bit because our next person that we're going to try to pass is Gasly, and if we can get past Gasly and Nico is going to be able to take that spot back, how annoying is that? And now Lance Stroll, we're tugging along Lance Stroll because of this, and now we're gonna get a good run off of Nico Hülkenberg, and we're gonna be able to get past Nico pretty easily. And there we go. We're now past Nico, but he held us up for a few seconds, which sucks. And now there's a yellow flag. What's happened? What's going on? I don't see any issues or damage. Someone probably just ran wide. Joe spun. That's okay. All right, so we've officially caught Pierre Gasly. We're going around the outside of Pierre, and there we go. We have moved right back into 10th place, and now we're looking pretty for points after we got dumped all the way back to 21st. O'Ward has made his way all the way back up into 10th, and let's go ahead and throw on a little bit of battery here for part of the lap to try to get rid of Gasly and Hülkenberg so that we can kind of cruise to the finish. We've got 4 laps left, and now we're in 10th place, and I believe we have we have way better tires than the people behind us. We're not catching Tsunoda. Tsunoda's a little bit too far out in front of us, but hopefully out of these turns right here, we're going to be able to pull away from Pierre Gasly a little bit and be able to keep him behind us. So we're going to throw it back on neutral and see if we can keep him out of our DRS range. Carlos Sainz again has won another race. He is absolutely on fire as Leclerc is out of it. Piastri, Norris, Russell, Alonso, Perez, Perez finishing that far behind is not going to help Red Bull. And we have crossed the line in 10th place. Great job today by Award. It's exactly what we need to continue to get points on the season. Here we go. So we have another point by Sargent by Pato Award. And so fantastic job by our team. And we continue to build for the future. Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Red Bull, and we've got the 2 RBs. And so let's see what happens with the driver standing. And Carlos Sainz can continue to pull away. I think that's really going to lock him into winning the Drivers' Championship. And then for the Constructors, everything stays about even. Because Ferrari and had Leclerc go out, they were not able to pull away. And then Red Bull, Perez was not able to finish well enough. McLaren technically gains on both of them. But they need to start closing in on Ferrari if they want a chance at the title.